very good. Yeah, okay, that's very good. It's working now. So what he's trying to say is, to summarize, because that hasn't gone on the YouTube, so that it's available there too, that you have prapancha and brahmagyana. They are mutually opposed to each other? No. Satyatva buddhi in prapancha is the main pratibandhaka. Satyatva buddhi, belief in this material reality around you as perfectly, comprehensively real, that is going to be replaced with mithyatva buddhi, because you know that the adhisthana is true, sarvam khalvidam brahma, not what appears. The appearance is not the reality. Once the satyatva buddhi of the prapancha, of this phenomenal reality, which is the main obstacle for brahmagyana, when that is removed, then you are free, then there is liberation. You are no more trapped in this Dvaita Viveka. So, Dvaita Viveka is not rejection of all Dvaita, but understanding how to deal. This whole chapter is, that's how, very, very complicated, very challenging. Nayam atma pravachenena labhyo na medhaya na bahuna shrutena yam eva esa brunute tena labhya katha Upanishad, it says. So, na ayam atma pravachenena labhyo na medhaya na bahuna shrutena. You see, at one level, Shastra says Atma is avang manasho gochara. And then it says manasa eva anudrashtabhyam. They are mutually contradictory statements. Why? Because in Ajnana Dasa, in order to have Atmagyana, what is the staircase through which you are going to ascend to the next higher level of consciousness? We'll go through analysis, we'll go through Upasana, Nishkama Karma, Bhakti. These are all relevant. Not for nothing that Shankaracharya, who was an avatar himself, having realized the Brahman, what was he doing? He goes everywhere and he writes sutras and establishes these Sankaracharya mathas. Why should he be doing all this? Some people believe he hasn't done it. Some people believe he has done it. Some sutras are there, some upasanas are there. Look at Lord Buddha. Go to Dalai Lama's office. What are they doing? They offer biscuits and chocolates and coconut water. If you go to East Asia, like Vietnam, or you go to Cambodia or any other places, wherever there is a Buddhist temple, they're kind of heavily influenced with this Tibetan Buddhism. So you'd find that they are all offering it to the Lord Buddha. Is he there? Is he there to consume? Why should they do it? Even in the Pure Land, in the Korean Buddhist model, uh, the cultivation of the pure land, pure mind, still there is a lot of meditation and upasana. Why so? Because everybody is not ready for entering into the prasangika mode of vichara on the ultimate tattva. That is a very difficult thing. Everybody doesn't have the intellectual skills, doesn't have a pure mind, so they would be able to do upasana. Therefore, as a real good Vedanti, if you find somebody is very busy with his work, he's in the Pravriti Marga. Pravriti Marga in Bhagavad Gita is essentially Nishkama Karma Yoga. So he's enjoying it. Good, because otherwise he will go in Asastriya Marga. Somebody is very much a devotee, so he's let's imagine he's a follower of the ISKCON method, or there are so many other paramparas in India, who there is a completely, almost like a herd of sheep, you're aligned with the faith, blind belief, nothing else. That will not interest a Vedanti. However, remember, at that moment, that is the medicine they require, maybe. And when they do that practice, after some time, if they have a curiosity, but I have seen a lot of highly enlightened sadhakas for last 40 years have been doing upasana. And I say, well, why didn't you read Sri Aurobindo? No, no, mother's work I'm doing. So they do a lot of social work and charity and stuff like that. Very, very enlightened people, if you meet them. And yet, are they really doing Jnana Yoga? No. Because maybe in next life, they are not ready yet. And there is no rush at all. Because Advaita Vedanta, to my mind, provides that platform where there is a parking slot for every damn sadhaka in whatever form, whatever orientation. There is a parking slot. You come and sit there and do your upasana. You want to do Vedanta Vichara, come here. You want to do yoga and meditation, do this. Because everybody is going to find a path. Na ayam atma pravachanena labhyo na medhaya na bahuna shrutena. Why is it saying this? Because by listening at anything, ayam eva esha gunate te ina labhyaha, the person who knows what is the fundamental swarupa of the Brahman, and then you meditate on that, then you're going to get it. But you can of course do a lot of pravachana, and then you can listen to a lot of talks and do a lot of yoga and all. Why? He's now contradicting what we just discussed, because directly you are not going to get moksha. You boarded a taxi to go to the airport, and you'll board the flight, then you'll be airborne for a while, then you're going to descend and then do immigration and go and reach your university or workplace in the US, right? When you boarded the taxi from your house and you're going to US. But would you reach US directly? No. There is some process involved. Similarly, he's saying this particular thing, there is no way to get it. First thing, it's not different from you. Number two, direct moksha is a result of Atmajnana. But these are different stages of sadhana, right? Therefore, this Bahya Dvaita is not to be ontologically eliminated. Metaphysically, Bahya Dvaita, external duality, can persist. That's not a threat. Because you can actually sublate it through Mrishatma Buddhi or Mithyatva Buddhi. You recognize this as a projection. Then it's fine. Then you can go towards Advaya Bodha. Why? Removal of the Satyatva Buddhi, then you will have the advice from the Vastu Aikyavadin, everything is one. Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma. Then you are very quickly going. And if somebody says no, Bahya Tattva has to be removed, you give the example of Pralaya. Absolutely. So Jiva Sushta Dvaita gets dissolved in Brahmagyana. Isa Sushta Dvaita, the physical universe outside, let it continue. But you realize this Isha Sushta Dvaita, the physical universe outside, essentially is adhishtita, is superimposed on the Brahman, Paramarthika Satya. So details do not threaten you anymore. Therefore, Vedanta Dindima says, Tameva viditva atimrityumeti nanya pantha vidyate ayanaya. Sweta Upanishad 3.8. The real advice is that Tameva viditva, only when you realize the self, the Brahman, then only you will get liberation. Now, you might say that Upanishads is actually telling, you are like a class 4 employee. If you are in Bhakti Yoga or Karma Yoga, you are doing some Raja Yoga, but remember, this is not going to give you ultimate liberation. Some scholars have mentioned that. Bhakti Yoga, like Madhusudana Saraswati, gives a lot of importance to Bhakti Yoga, but then says Bhakti Yoga is a penultimate stage. So he's denigrating them to the second highest position or third highest position. The truth of the matter is, yes, there is recognition of some kind of a hierarchy where the ultimate stage for the bhakta, it's bhakti. For the yogi, it's the yoga. But for Vedanta, in the Shruti Vakyas which are there, ultimately what's required is contemplation. But for that contemplation to be comprehensive and fruitful, we must have completed these phases of sadhana, like Nishkama Karma Yoga and Upasana and Bhakti and all that, because then our Antakarana is purified. So, this is how we sort of bring the particular sloka to an end. Let's go to the next one. Aishwaram Dvaitam na Nivaranayama iti kosho nirbandha. Why do you want not? Why shouldn't you try to remove this external reality, duality? Asmakamiva bhavatu api dvesha audasinyamba astu iti asankam samadhate. Now the Purvapati student is a defense lawyer. He's coming up with a new challenge. What is his challenge? He's saying, look here, you are a Advaitavadi. Everything is Brahman. Neha nanasti kinchana. You are a monist. You are a non-dualist monist. How can you feel comfortable with this external reality? So far it is there. How can you be happy? You try to have some dvesha, you should be able to hate it. And if you do not want to hate it, okay, I grant you that. You should be indifferent at least. Why are you saying so much of interest in this bahya duality, external duality and diversity, saying this is not bad, it's also helpful? Really? Why are you not saying this Isha Srishti, even if it is Isha Srishti, we should reject it? We should overlook it. Now, the answer of the teacher as to why we have no reason to get upset with whatever is happening around. And those of you are, grihasthas, you have wife, you have children, you have relationship. The Shastra says very clearly, your enemy is not your wife or children or your car, your house, and all that. You need to understand that they are not Paramarthika Satya, so reorient your consciousness towards yourself. And then you do the Upanishad study and Shravana Manana and Nididhyasana, they would slowly fall off. Like they say, the mango, when it ripens, it falls on its own. You lose interest in course of time, but you should not impose that detachment on yourself. There's a beautiful sentence in one of the tantric texts where he says that the only way to get rid of your craving, your desires, or physical desires, especially let's imagine craving for money or sex or anything, you cannot suppress it. Shastra says if you suppress it, it's going to strike back at you with double the force. You cannot do it. What is the technique? He says anadara vairagyabhyam. You do anadara. How another can have dosha drishtya. Shobhana adhyasa is the mother of all problems. You think this car is beautiful. Then your mind starts working how to have that car. There's a girl, she's going on her way. Actually, she's carrying her mother. That mother is not well. She herself is not well. She has a terrible disease. You don't know all this. She's wearing a very good dress, very good floral frock. And then, oh, what a beautiful lady. And then your mind starts craving. That poor girl, she's not well. She has a health condition. And she's going with her mother. She's looking after her mother. She has a terrible life situation. And for you, she's an object of your craving. Where is the thief? The thief lies in the mind. It has nothing to do with the girl. It is not nothing to do with the Ishvara Srishti. It's all Jiva Srishti, which is the mother of all problems. Therefore, the Acharya is trying to say beautifully, saying, Abadhakam sadhakam cha dvaitam ishvara nirmitam apanetum asakyam cha che tyasam tadvishate kutaha avadhakam sadhakam cha. Number one, it is avadhaka. Why you should not fight with the external reality. External reality is not posing a threat. We are posing a threat. As they say, the real source of our mental tension is not what we experience, but how we respond to it. That is Jiva Srishti, how we respond to it. Abadhakam sadhakam. So, but I'm telling you, saying it very easy. Huh? Only when you go much deeper and you cultivate a habit of analysis, as the Buddhists do and Vedantis also should do. Because to my mind, I think a good Vedanta student should also read a lot of Buddhism, especially the Sunyavada and Yogachara. Very interesting for mental training, for self-analysis. What they try to say that you break it into pieces and try to understand what exactly is exciting you. If you're looking at a car, you're looking at a book, you're looking at a house or a plot, you're looking at a girl or a man, what is exciting you? What is that is causing anger in you, or reaction in you, or attraction in you? You break it into parts. You will not find anything. And they say that don't try to that anadara vairagya. What is vairagya? In Buddhism, they said, okay, you are having kama bhavana, you are having krodha. You said, okay, you just be like an American house with sensors all around. What does happen? You'll find a lot of these houses in US, suburbs. If you're walking, they don't have any dogs or anything. They have CCTV cameras and sensors. So if you go close to the house, the lights get put on and CCTV anyway capturing your image. Sitting in house, they can see you and they can call up 911 and then you are in problem. So, but they are seeing you. And now things are going to be even smarter. Maybe there's going to be a time where whether you are at home or not, most likely the CCTV cameras, they'll process the information and they will make a call to 911 without your wanting it. If they interpret the data they receive and process as a threat to the house, if they find it suspicious, they will link it with AI and then there's a call, and the police will accordingly also have AI supported response mechanisms. That's all going to happen in days to come. That's how I foresee it. So he's trying to say that you just be self aware. Okay, now this desire has come to me. I'm getting angry with my friend because he had responded to me in a very weird way during a meeting, office meeting. Once you become aware, you are a different person. because then that particular emotion is thrown into a corner. It becomes something not you. When we are not aware, we become that emotion. Vedanta and Buddhists, they teach you. You try to figure out, Vedanta teaches what you are not. We are none of these emotions. We experience these thoughts that come and invade us, these emotions which capture all powers in us. So this is how they're saying, and similarly saying the Bahya Prapancha is avadhakam, not a threat. Then what? Sadhakam cha. No, no, they are actually a good friend. Dvaitam Ishvara Nirmitam. Ishvara Srishti is not Badhaka. First ground of refutation is second ground of refutation, it is Sadhaka, is actually a friend. Apanetum Asakyam Cha. Third reason as to why you should not fight with it. You cannot remove Ishvara Srishti. Who the hell are we? We are here for a few years. It's beyond us. A lot of people will find, whether in social media, which is Instagram or Facebook or WhatsApp groups, student, alumni groups, 24 hours they're discussing politics, and they have a boy to beat. So in any discussion, they will hate somebody or they'll love someone. So everybody pushes his or her agenda, and this they mess up decades of close friendship in old days. Unnecessary thing that he's saying apanetum asakyam cha. And we just need to understand what we can control and what we cannot. If you want to be like Sri Aurobindo, he says that you have that overman consciousness, and then he says, I'm still fighting the war sitting in my meditation room. I'm using my supramental force. If you are at that level, that's different. But generally, if you have that strong, like you have that, they call it psychokinesis or something, where they apply there, or you have telepathy, you can control events. Yeah, these are all different things. Simple level, apanetum asakyam cha. Iti astam tad dushyate kutaha. Let it be there. First thing, you cannot deny its existence, you cannot remove it. Number two, it's not a threat. Third, it's actually helpful. Let's look at the discussion, how it is goes. He's saying, Ishvara nirmitam dvaitam advaita jnanam pratyavadhakam na pratibandhakam. So, advaita jnanam prati abadhakam. It's not a threat. It's not a badhaka. Means abadhaka. That means what? Na pratibandhakam. It is not something which is putting a roadblock. Ata na dvesha karyaha. Therefore, don't try to hate it. Tari audasinyam astu ityatah aha sadhakamiti. Okay, let's be indifferent. If we don't want to hate bahya dvaita, we should be indifferent. He's saying, why so? It's helpful. You embrace it. So here I tell you the Nishkama Karma Yoga, Upasana, Vichara. You see, even Vedanta Vichara requires engagement with reality. You have this famous guy in IIT Kanpur, I suppose, the mathematician, who's a Ramakrishna monk. And somebody asks him recently, how do you combine mathematics and Advaita? He says, I don't see any contradiction. What is your problem? If you're studying physics, or maybe you're a computer engineer, maybe you're agri-scientist, maybe you are a lawyer. But once you have this, that this is an appearance, I'm dealing with a particular level, and these are not easy. There's a beautiful book, any of you have access to it, Sri Anirvan, one of the greatest minds from Bengal. He wrote that Letters from a Bowl. Most of his writings are in Bengali. So those of you can read Bengali, he's a gold mine of insights. He has written that 3-volume Vedamimamsha. If you want to, any of you are in Calcutta, you're going there, there is a place called Aurobindo Pathagara right in front of the Calcutta University building. You can go look for their books, that Letters from a Bowl. And then he has also translated Life Divine by Sri Aurobindo into Bengali, Vidyajivan. So you can also pick that book up. He was ahead of his time, very insightful. He says somewhere, he was a Sankhyavadi, but he says somewhere, the mega macro philosophical frameworks through which how Purusha and Prakriti interact, how the system evolves, all this can be understood. That is Poroksha Jnana. But in everyday life situation, how the Prakriti Purusha interact, how should you respond based on this cosmological self understanding is the challenge which a guru helps with, because you do not know what to do, what exactly it means. It's like a newly appointed engineer is given a design and he says, okay, start work. He doesn't know how to start it. That's what the problem everyone faces. There is where, there's one great Vedanta Acharya, Swami TV, Tattvavidananda Maharaj. He's available on the internet. Very self realized person. I hold him with great, great admiration. So Swami TV all the time says, he said, you read Vedanta, but to understand Vedanta and how to apply it in life, you have to look at talks with Sri Ramana Maharshi. You have to read I Am That by Nisargananda, Nisarganath. You have to read, the Kathamrita of Ramakrishna Paramahansa, the writings of Sri Vivekananda. Why? Because they are not orthodox Vedantians. No, they lived Vedanta in their lives. They were one step ahead of the scholars. So therefore, he's saying Ishvara nimitam dvaitam advaita jnanam prati avadhakam na pratibandhakam ato na dveshah karya tari oda sunyamastu ityataha sadhakamiti. You look at all these people, they had their own way of engaging with the Bahya Prapancha. They were all Advaitavadis. When Ramana Maharshi was asked, the Second World War is going on, how can you sit and meditate? And he smiled, he said, for a Jnani, there is no peace, no war. There is only one thing. He was ahead of Thakur. In a separate way, he was a Nibriti Margi. Thakur was that Leelavadi. He was full of compassion and love. Vivekananda said, I want to be reborn again and again. They were, Vivekananda was like a great bodhisattva. Bodhisattva and Buddha are different. Buddha himself realized not going to come back again. Bodhisattva is willing to come back, not because he doesn't like liberation, he doesn't like nirvana, it's but because he's so much full of love and compassion that he wants to benefit others, and therefore he's willing to engage with Bahya Prapancha, Sadhakamiti. Ishvara Srishta Dvaita Bhave Guru Shastrader Abhava Prasangena Tad Upadesha Asambhavad Brahma Jnanam No Udayad Eva. No, this I'm going up. Yeah. Therefore, he's saying, now look at this. In Pralaya also we discussed that there will be no Guru Shastra Upadesa. Here also he's saying, Guru Shastra Upadesa happens in what domain? Does it happen in Brahman? Yeah, everything happens in Brahman. But look at it. If you deny the existence of the external world, would you be going to a university to study physics or philosophy? Everything is unreal for you. So you become a stoic in a very negative sense. You reject everything, and there is no blueprint for going ahead. And that is not Vedanta. It's very clearly being mentioned here. So, if you do not accept anything, Guru is unreal for you, Shastra insights are unreal for you, meditation, everything is unreal for you. And what are you yourself? You say, I'm Brahman, this, that, but you live in a delusional self absorption which will break into pieces. And that's what Lord Krishna warned Arjuna about. If you don't understand what I'm telling you, you're going to go and then Prakriti will come, pull you back. That is the major threat. That the parampara sometimes they appear to be a little constricting. Those of you who have read Siddharth, I must have read it a few times. The statement which frightened me most in that book, if you read it again, you will see when Siddhartha has a discussion with the Buddha and he asks him, whose path did you follow to get this enlightenment? He says, no, I didn't follow anyone's path. I did it myself. And then Siddhartha says, so why do you advise me to follow your advice? Why should I follow your advice? I'll find it myself. Buddha tells one thing, you are cunning with words and be careful. And he moves on. So many of these Guru Shastra Paramparas, why should I follow this? Can't I experiment? You can do all that. What happened to Siddhartha? With all his wisdom, he meets Kamala, and who was she? She was a countess. She was essentially a woman who was catering to the needs of the elites. So he has a relationship. Then at the end, he comes back and realizes, God knows, at one time you can say that he's kind of naturalized his consciousness. But if you go deeper into it, that is not the ultimate stage of the Vedantic realization. It's more of a very sophisticated spiritualized stoicism. But Buddha's warning was not taken seriously, and he says all these wisdom and enlightenment vanished after some time, and then he has hunger, and after some time he has sexual craving. So the real challenge in spiritual life is when we challenge everything that is foundational, the Guru Shastra Upadesha and the insights and scriptures and all that, then we want to be on our own. The fear is that we may not be necessarily with the support of the required wisdom to move forward. And then this mental state in which we think we are in control could be delusional. And then we are killed by the enemies who are hiding with us. And that's why he's saying, Ishvara Srishti Dvaita Bhave Guru Shastradir Abhava Prasangena. So don't try to deny everything thinking you are a Vedanti. Tad Upadesha Asambhavad Brahmagyanam Na Udayad Eva. Brahmagyan is not going to be possible because you will not be able to practice if you reject everything as null and void. Ataha Brahmagyana Upaya Bhuta Guru Shastradi Sampadakatvena Sadakam Cha. What? Prapancha. Guru Shastradi Sampadaka is what? The material duality. This is my Acharya. I will bow down to him. I'll sit, I'll study. How can anybody teach and then I will get Atmagyana? Those guys who raise a lot of ultimate questions, all of us do. Whenever we tend to raise ultimate questions, it's very clear that there is a powerful tamasic force which is holding us back from actually opening up to this spiritual possibility. So any step we take, either we are closing the door to a higher level or we are opening the door. So whenever you have this powerful backward pull, it comes in the guise of wisdom. The best example is Ravana, right? He came as a monk. So our own past sanskaras or faulty understanding could actually interfere with our right path and our sadhana in the guise of wisdom. And that is what is alarming. He's warning the Purvapakya. Kincha tad apanayana prayatno nishprayojana eva iti asayana aha apanetum. And then, even if you're trying to reject this external reality as faulty, as false, let me reject it. He says, no, you cannot remove it. You might think. So, what Sri Aurobindo says, no, don't try to fight with ego, spiritualize it. Don't deny the presence of ego. That's not a problem. The real problem is if it's there, you don't know how to deal with it, make use of it. And that's what in the martial arts the Chinese people do, isn't it? You're attacking them. Your movement of the arms or limbs, they use to their advantage. So, whatever is samsara, including the things which are happening, if we become alert, then everything becomes useful. That is the main message which is there inside. Na ataha tatra audasinyamapi, because it is sadhakam, therefore udasinta is not at all useful. And then don't try to dare to remove it because you cannot. Bhavata dhashtyena, you are a drishta, you are just trying to be, what do you call it? You are just trying to be a con man and you're having this false confidence. Then with that false confidence, dveshe kriyamanepi na tena kemapi sadhyam, nothing is going to happen. You might just rant a lot and rebel and shout and whatever you do, no real outcome is going to go your way. Apicha apanetum asakyam anivaryam. That Isha Srishti will continue to be there. And then he's saying, Ato nishprayojane dvesha na karya iti srihad bhutva vakti. As a good friend, Acharya is saying, why are you trying to find? Because this is a useless effort you're doing, you cannot remove it. Astam prapancho, astunama, let it be there. What's your problem? You do your thing, don't fight with him. Kutaha tat dvishate, why are you trying to have hatred, aversion? You do dosha darshana. Don't try to have dvesha. There is a difference. When we have dvesha, there is an emotional contented. There is dosha darsana, is contemplative, vicharatmaka. Anivarya vastuni nisprayojana dvesha bhavata kim iti kriyate iti bhavaha. Why are you unnecessarily fighting with prapancha? Yeah, so that's not a problem. And so we have come to the end of this verse number 42, where there are three things the Acharya is making us aware about. Number one, it is Abadhaka, Isha Srishti. Number two is Sadhaka. Three, Anivarya. We cannot even remove it. Therefore, you try to go with it and make use of it and do sadhana. Because with this prapancha only you can do sadhana. Only if you. So there is no need for any dvesha, no need for any odasinya. But what do you have? You have anugraha buddhi. Anugraha vidhi was, God has given it. It's a blessing. It's His kindness. Let's make use of it. I remember, I'm just sharing, it's a personal experience, but it's a very spiritual thing. So there was this lady who would be in her 30s. I'm talking about 10 years back. That year was the Nabakalevara in Orissa. So there are about 20, 30 lakh people. In the Rath Yatra, I was standing in a corner close to the chariot, and then I saw in that crowd where there was no place to stand, there was one Bengali young lady, maybe about 35 or something, thin one, short one, jumping and saying Jai Jagannath and all. And I said, "Where are you from? Who is with you?" Because I was very concerned about her safety. She said, "No, I have come alone." I said, "There's no one." He said, What do you mean by no one? Jagannath is there with me. I have come to meet him. I have no family. They are my family. Jagannath, Balabhadra, Subhadra, they are my family, and I come there every year. So she has dared to come from Calcutta. She's teaching in a primary school. She's a school teacher, not married, single, lives alone, and she is a devotee of Lord Jagannath, wearing Tulsi Mali and all that. Very insignificant person, very thin. She could have died in that crowd, but she is full of confidence. And then the king was coming in. I said, let's do darshan of king. I thought she was being stupid and foolish, because seeing he's representative of God, he's doing seva of Lord Jagannath, so let's also bow down to I was finding it very funny. I said, he's having business and this and that. Why are you becoming so emotional? He said, you are talking like this. He's sevak of Jagannath. You don't realize it? Then I said, no, this lady is different. Then I saw she doesn't care for anyone. I said, where will you stay? You have a hotel room, anything? He said, no. I came from the railway station directly. And I said, where are your things? No, I kept it with somewhere in the railway station only. Where will you sleep tonight? I don't waste my time. You are in front of Jagannath asking these stupid questions. I've come a long way to see my family members, because she thinks she's Subhadra's younger sister and two brothers will protect her. When we look at it, you might look very stupid, but that is our lifeline. And other people, the police and all, they looked at her and her blind dedication and love. They could also identify with her, and the police then took her into the security garden so that nobody disturbs her. And then she was dancing. Now, there are two ways to deal with this reality. One is that you can just laugh it off, saying she's a crazy woman. The other one is that she is actually practicing Vedanta by accepting the crowd, and she's not shouting, she has no complaint about anyone. She was engaging with God's creation with best intention, with total surrender. And you might call it Sopadika Brahma, you can call it an image, you can say this is not real bhakti or whatever. But if you look at what's going on, that is what is called phenomenological approach to study of religion. They don't look at the academic aspect of it, they try to get into the actual experience of God in individuals' lives without rejecting this as delusional. A lot of people are still curious about how Thakur used to behave. Much of his behavior, much of his responses had very little to do with bookish knowledge. It was direct experience. He lived it. And that's how he used to come with these powerful statements. Why did I mention all this? That we don't need to be perturbed, disturbed, or challenged by the external diversity and so called obstacles to our sadhana, but accept it as God's grace. Anugraha drishti, and that's a beautiful thing. Ishvara sarvabhutanam hriddasya arjuna tishtati brahmayana sarvabhutani yantrarudhani mayaya, because we recognize that all human beings are being moved and we have nothing to fight against or reject, because we will have this mithyatva buddhi, then we'll ascend to that realization that sarvam khalvidam brahma. Now, what is the jiva dvaita? Is it of one type or two type? Yeah. Therefore, he's saying jiva dvaita sa dviprakarakatva vichara. First is dvaita, jiva srishti, ishvara srishti. Two types. Again, jiva srishti is being split into two. Very interesting. We have already discussed that Jiva Srishti is the major challenge to Atmajnana. That is the real obstruction. Having said that to us, now he will tell us not all of Jiva Srishti is a Pratibandhaka. Why? He just now said that Bahya Dvaita is not Badhaka apitu Sadhaka. But this Guru Parampara, tell me, Guru Parampara, going to Lord Jagannath is made of wood and stuff like that, right? And there's some corruption and people are doing business and all that you see in temples. Yeah. Now, how do you deal with it? Is it good or is bad or is ugly? It's ugly actually most of the time. Look at the, you can have very disturbing experience in crowded temples. In North Indian temples, monks have a little respect, not in South Indian temples or in Orissa. You don't get that kind of attention. You don't absolutely know special treatment, even if you are a monk. So he's now again splitting it into two parts, because Vedanta sadhana requires Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, starts with Shravana. Then Guru Shastra, Upadesa, everything. Where is a Guru to find? You'll go to an ashram. What is there in the ashram? You go there. You'll find same prapancha. What do you find in the university? What do you find in your house? What do you find in your corporate office? You'll find some form of same raga, dvesha, power politics, everything in any ashram. There is not a single Vedanta ashram anywhere you will find where human beings are not there. If human beings are there, that particular energy of competition, of conflict, of some hatred and love, a mix of all this, it will be more moderate, but it will not be free from it wherever you go. Because Trigunatmika Maya will show its game. But then you have to go and fix yourself in that system, which is again not free from some kind of hassle, to have Guru Upadesha, make use of that opportunity to connect with the Vedantic insights. Therefore, it's a beautiful verse. Yadyapi jiva sustim ma astu asatvena. Even though jiva susti, let it not be there because it is asatya. Asatvena manonirodhena sadya eva varaitum sakya tathapi. And then you sit in meditation. Five boys are talking politics. You hate it. Or they're discussing politics or discussing cricket or discussing anything against you. They're discussing a particular cultural type. You belong to that ethnicity. You are an Indian. You are an Eastern Indian. And people are making fun of Eastern Indian. You are sitting in US or sitting in Delhi or Himachal, wherever. And you sit in meditation. There's no problem. He's saying, Sadyeva Bharatum Sakya Tathapi Brahma Jnana Sadhakataya Angsataha Upadeya iti asayena tad vibhaga purvakam upadeya angsham darshayati jiveti. That Jiva Srishti is a Pratibandhaka, fine, I have already explained to you. However, out of that Jiva Srishti, there is one part of it which is Sadhaka. Bahya Srishti, Ishvara Srishti Sadhaka. It's not a Badhaka. Done. You cannot remove it. Now, even in Jiva Srishti, one part of Jiva Srishti is Badhaka, one part of Jiva Srishti is Sadhaka, not Badhaka. Look at the verse, beautiful. Jivadvaitam tu sastriyam asastriyam iti dvidha upadadita sastriya mata matatvasya babodhanat. Jivadvaitam tu sastriyam asastriyam. There is sastriya dvaita, asastriya dvaita. What is asastriya dvaita? The son tells the mom, I'm going to school, but he is going to play cricket match. That is asastriya dvaita. Where is God? I don't see anything. I'm going to have my booze. I'm going to have this, that, all. Asastriya dvesha. That is nisedhatmaka. But Shastra says some dvaita. You do some upasana. Sandhya Vandan every morning you have to do. Why should I do all this? He says you do Surya Namaskara. No, no, I'm a Vedanti. I know ultimate Brahman. Why Surya Namaskar? Why should I do it? No, you try to chant Shiva's name a while. Why? Who is Shiva? It's not written in Veda. Shiva's name is there and in Upanishad. No, there are few Saiva Upanishads. Yeah, I understand that. Main Upanishads, his name is there. No, why should I do Ramachandra temple visit? Why? It's useless. Therefore, he's saying Jiva Dvaitam to Sastriyam Asastriyam. Now, this temple going, reading spiritual texts, bowing down to the Acharya, following a few rituals, these are Sastriya Dvaita advised by the Shastra. Then rest, normal, Raga Dveshata, because of our craving and aversion that we do or not do a few things. These are the other part of the story. Upadadita, this is what is mentioned and explained. Sastriyam Atatvasya ababodhanat. Atatvasya ababodhanat. This particular Jiva Dvaita, Jiva Srishti, which is Sadhaka, which is Shastriya, that is a means or instrument towards realization of the Brahman. That duality that we do in rituals. Like you do a Sankalpa, you have to take an early morning bath, and a lot of people, they study a lot of Vedanta, then they stop taking a bath. What is the need? Why should I take a bath? No, but Shastra says you should take a bath and then do Surya Namaskar. Forget about Shastra. This is for inferior people like you. Some people might say that. But he's saying no, that is asastriya. That is something which is nishiddha karma. You should not be doing it. Now let's look at how he's explaining it. Therefore, he's saying, यद्यपि जीवसृष्टिः भावसत्वेन मनोनिरोधेन सद्य एव वारयितुं शक्या. You can remove jiva srishti by sitting in meditation. Tathapi brahma jnana sadhakataya angshatah upadaya. Yes, you can sit in meditation. You can deny his presence for a while, and you cannot permanently remove. Your eyes open, they come back, so you will be still in janma mrityu and all. But he's saying no, you don't have to ignore it. In fact, you can make use of it. Jivadvaitam Sastriyam Brahmajnana Upakarakattvena Sastriya. What do you mean by Sastriya? No, they are Upakaraka, helpful for Brahmajnana. Sastra Bodhitam Asastriyam Tadvinnam. You have Sastriya Dvaita, which is going to help us for Brahmajnana Bodhana. The other one is Asriya Tadvinnam Tatcha Nishiddham iti Dveta. The other one is Nishiddha. It's to be rejected 100%. So, basically, Kama, Shankalpa, Raga, Dvesha is a asastriya Dvaita Paraka. Buying a car, playing some games, you do hazard things. The problem is, as a Vedanti, if you completely reject Sastriya Dvaita, the fear is you may be trapped in asastriya Dvaita. Because you have weakened the foundation, the house will collapse. Nishkama Karma Yoga and Upasana are solid foundations for good, deep contemplation. You look at these analytical Buddhists who are very, very intellectual. They do not do our kind of meditation. They call it analytical meditation, vicharatmaka, similar to what is nididhyasana, which is different from dhyana in Vedanta. But if you go to, I've been to Dharmshala and all the monasteries that you go, you'll find they're chanting holy name thousands and thousands of times every day. They'll sit in groups and chant. Why do they do it? They do it because they know this mind is not to be trusted. You have all the time guide it, hold it in control, be aware. Otherwise, this is a process of dusting the mind. It's disinfection. Otherwise, mosquitoes come. So you have the municipality or the local government in India. This gas they're released into the air to sort of frighten away the mosquitoes from the habitations. Similarly, you do all this. So the Guru Shishya Parampara, the relation, is a creation, it's a mental creation. It's false maybe, but it's sadhaka, is useful. So, Brahma Satya Jagana Mithya, for this Vivechana, you need to read Upanishads. And to be able to read the Upanishads, you have to accept some kind of Jiva Srishti, which is a creation of human beings. And Asasya Jiva Srishti is the Kama Nibaddha Dhimaya Srishti. Because of your Raga Dvesha, you are creating it. That is what is Bandhakrit. That is what is the main source. Atattasya abodhanat brahmana avagati paryantam upadadita. So you try to make use of it. You try to, what do you call it, utilize this Jiva Srishti until you have Brahma Jnana is useful. Okay. First critical thing to remember here is that this Shastriya Jiva Dvaita is also not permanently Upadaya. They say, there are these stories that somebody makes wooden shoes or khadaus, they call it, right? And there is a muddy road. So you wear it, you cross over. Do you carry them? Now you are in a mountainous range. If you wear them, you cannot walk. You throw them off. It's not required. So you read all these Vedantic texts, you mug up grammar, and all these you do. Once you are Brahmajnana, then you are meditating on that aspect, then they become a little superfluous, then you can discard them. So that Bahyadvayam Bodhu Sakyam. So what he's trying to say, once you have that Brahmadvaitam, once Brahmadvayam, when you realize that everything is one, then you don't need Shastras to tell you everything is one. You have already realized it. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can discard it and you just can walk away alone with your realization. You don't need anything. Neither Shastriya Dvaita is challenging for you, neither Asastriya Dvaita is challenging for you. You are free from all this. Until that point, Tameva Gurum Avigachet Samit Panihi Sotriyam Brahmanishtam. Till that point, Mundagopanishad says, yeah, you go to an acharya, you accept this Dhimaya Srishti, become a part of it. Yeah. And so the Shastriya Manasa Srishti, the Shastriya mental engagement, as they say beautifully, use the mind to drop the mind. Read philosophy to discard philosophy. So this is a process where the instrumentality you are using, there would be a beautiful verse after this. Then Bhagavan says, if you remember in the Bhagavad Gita, in the fifth chapter, in the verse number 16, Jnane nutu tadagyanam yesham nasitam atmanah tesam adityavas jnanam prakasayate tatparam. Jnanena tu yadagyanam. The Atma Jnana is removed, ignorance is removed through Jnana, Nasitam Atmana. And then what happens? Tesam Aditya Jnanam Prakasayate Tatpara. Atma is Swayam Prakasa. When the ignorance is removed, that becomes evident and flourishes in you. Then you don't need books to tell you that Brahma Satya Jagana Mithya. You are already in that truth. Let's go to the verse number 44. We have 4 minutes and we can complete it. It's not a big one. Brahma avabodhana sadhakam sastriyam dvaitam vibrunoti atmeti. What is that sastriya dvaita? He is now elaborating on the verse number 44. Atma Brahma vicharakhyam sastriyam manasam jagat buddhe tattve tacchaheya miti srutya anusasanam. That's what we were discussing right now. Atma Brahma vicharakhyam. What is that sastriyam manasam jagat? What is that Manasagat? Atma Brahma Vicharakhyam. That Dvaita is Atma. Everything is Atma. Upanishad says this. These are the statements. All kinds of vichara you're doing. That is called Shastriya Manasam Jagat. This is the mental construction you're doing. It's a positive mental construction. Buddhe Tattve Tacha Hiyam. Once the Tattva has been understood by you, you don't need this Dvaita. Shastriya Dvaita. You don't need to go to any temple. You do not need to do any, I was talking to my Vedanta Acharya, nice guy, walking with him. I said, Swamiji, as Ekadasi, did you do it or are you going to do it tomorrow? Because sometimes you have 2 days where Ekadasi. He said, I am doing Nitya Ekadasi. I said, you are observing Ekadasi every day? He smiled. He said, yes. I said, so what do you do? He said, me, I take roti sabji. I said, you don't take fruits or not? He said, no, fruits also I take. I said, I don't follow any of the rules. I've done this for 40 years. Enough of Chandi Pathas and Rudrabhisheka, Sandhya, Vandan, Yoga. But of course, he still gets up at 3 o'clock to do his kriyas. But rituals, no rituals. But he will do rituals for others. He will sit in a chair. He will come to do Purnahuti and Arati. But he is all the time busy with his studies, with his meditation and contemplation. Why? He's a person of Vedanta. Rituals, he says, yes, he gives advice. You have to do this ritual, you have to do this meditation. Why? Because look here, our diseases are different. Our medicines are going to be different. You don't have to be a doctor to be well. That's what all acharyas say. Depending on your disease, the doctor gives you medicine. Just to, if you want to help others, then you have to be a doctor. Then you have to know about a lot of medicines. The acharyas know about different paths and this and that. But so practitioners are concerned. If you want to follow a particular path and this is suitable to you, that's good enough. Atma vicharakyam sastriyam manasam jagat. It's clear. Tattve buddhe sati tacha heyam. Once you realize that Atma Tattva, this particular manasam jagat heyam, that also can be discarded. Shruti anusasanam. Iti Shruti anusasanam. This is what the Upanishads say. Where is that statement he has to now give? And that is what he is giving here. आत्म ब्रह्म विचाराख्यम प्रत्यक आत्मा पर ब्रह्मणो स्वरूप विचार वन इज तत्वमसि तत्वमसि तत् what is lakshanartha of his vachyartha is the jiva and lakshartha is that pratyak chaitanya in us, the space in the ghata, consciousness in the human being, the same consciousness. And then tat is Ishvara, could be Durga, Shiva, Parvati, whatever, Allah, Jesus. What is the Lakshartha? That pure consciousness. This little tiny body and the pure consciousness in this and pure consciousness in Ishvara, who is Sarvagya and Sarvasaktiman, this one pure consciousness. Once we have this Pratyagatma and Brahma is avinna. When we have that kind of thing, there is no problem whatever. Therefore, he's saying Atma Brahma Vicharakyam Pratyak Atma Parabrahmano Swarupa Vicharaha. You do Swarupa Vichara. How do you do it? Shravanadi Rupam. So you have to do Shravana. There is a little left in the commentary, but that we will be then resuming on coming Thursday. So I'll stop here and then we'll move forward. Next Thursday, I'll do the Shanti mantras. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om Tat Sat. So see you on Thursday, and then we'll carry it forward. Until then, I'll take a leave of you.